let's jump right into this here. Before we do it, let me point out a couple things on this cart here before we draw so we can observe this, all right? Let me get a color here so you can see what, let's come all the way down here. Okay, so let's take a look at this and get an idea what we're drawing here today. Look at you see that? There's the top of the cart and it's going back to the vanishing point. There's the bottom of the cart. And all of these lines here are all converging to that same vanishing point. You see that? Let's look at the other side now, and we'll change the color here. That's going in that direction. You see this? Watch this. There's the bottom of the canopy. That is also going to the vanishing point. That is as well. And then if you come way over here, that back edge, this back edge is going to the vanishing point as well. You see? Even the bottom of the these legs, those legs, oops, look at that. I just drew that wrong. These legs are going to the vanishing point as well. But then of course we've got this wheel here. So watch this now. Now this is something that if any of you have been with me for a while, this has come up before, but if you're brand new, you know, we often talk about ovals and how to draw ovals. But let me change this to be a red color. So you all will go with blue so you can see it there. Okay, maybe light blue. All right. So if I was to think of the axle, see there's the axle of this wheel also goes back to this vanishing point. The axle of that wheel goes back to the vanishing point. And here's the thing about axles. Axles are also the minor axis when you draw an oval. That's the one thing we haven't talked about. So look at this now. Look at the wheel here. You see this? A is reflective of B. Okay, so that's something to remember. That's a big thing to remember. Axles are also the minor axis when you're drawing a wheel, okay? So I'm going to start with getting a couple verticals. So I always like to start with the vertical that's closest to me. So let's go ahead and, all right, so there's a vertical there. Let's get that back one there. And I'm just kind of guesstimating. It's going to be somewhere over here. And then I want to get this back in here. So we're proportionately, I think it's going to be about over here. Okay, we're going to use kind of a perspective grid to get our perspective right. You want to go to the extreme. So there's one angle, right? And here is another. So let's kind of put those loosely on our page here. Let's try and get that angle there. It's going to be right about there. And then this bottom one is going to be about here. Let's get one more here. Let's kind of estimate where this awning is. You see that awning? So let's come up, maybe it's about there. So this is also, so all of those are going to converge to that vanishing point. All right, let's jump to the other side here. Look at this. Let's get this one here. There's that one right there. You see that? So I'm going to pause. I'll give you... I always keep a kneaded eraser right by my computer here, and I'm not stressed, but it's just I always grab it and start to roll it. All right. Okay. So let's look at our drawing here, and I'm just going to sharpen now. Look at this. These corner edges there. You see that? Over here on the right side now, let's go ahead and just put an X. That's going to tell me the center. That's going to tell me the center of the side. And then from up here, I'm going to go straight up. And right here, that is, let me change the color maybe. Look where I put that dot there. That's the center of where that sign is. Okay, look at this now. Let's use one of our tools of measurement to get an idea how far back that sign goes. And I could do that because this corner right here is this corner. So where is that sign? That sign is going to come back here about. So we can I think I'm going to make my sign a little bigger. All right, let's drop down. Let's drop down from our sign here. And we'll get the top of this canopy. Okay, this is going to go back to that vanishing point on the left side there. We're going to take this angle and match it over here. You see those two. This canopy then is going to hang down, so let's give a little bit of hanging down room here for it. So it's going to come here and then turn the corner. And I'm just going to kind of curve out just something like that, you see? So it's, and then you could just kind of, I'm just going to kind of give some scallops here. Let's get the top of our carton. So look at this distance right here. You see this distance? So I'm going to come over here and put a little dot right there. Okay, let's extend that out. So visually, I'm just doing this light now. So I can get the angle right. This and this. All of these are going to converge. And then the same thing on the other side there. Just kind of try and estimate it. Okay, let's come over here to this corner here. We'll call this corner A, right? And then this is going to also go back to that vanishing point. That may not be enough of an angle there. So let's see. Let me just see if I can. We got that. We got that. So I want to. Okay, something like that. I'm going to jump to the other side now and go to B. All right, now looking at B now. B is going to go to this vanishing point over here. So I just want to kind of visualize that. And we can darken, this is the back corner of our cart. Now, I think it's possible that we could see up underneath our canopy. So let's do the same thing, but only in reverse. If I come up here, right here, this is, we'll call this A as well, this little dot here. And so that's going to go back to the vanishing point. And if I come over to the other side, we'll call this B as well. And I'll slow down here. And B will go across the way. Okay, so that's the underside. Of our cart. I'll give you a minute here. Give you a minute. That doesn't look look, I think A, look at this line here, that doesn't look right to me. So I have to adjust mine. See, this is even, I have to adjust mine sometimes. That's right, but A should be more. Let's see. I think it's more like that. Oh, that looks much better. All right, let's add these little legs on the cart, just like that, and this is going to go back to the vanishing point, so I know where the other leg is. And then okay, so since this is a stand that has a wheel, let's determine where the axle is, and it's going to be in the middle of the stand. So this is what I'm going to do. And in this, I'm going to draw an X right here. Okay, this is vertical. Okay, so we'll call this E. Well, that's gonna get all right. So this little dot is E. So right here, let's draw our axle. Axle is gonna go back to the vanishing point. Look at that. Just like that. We want to draw our axle first. All right, I'm going to draw the wheel, and I'm going to, from that axle, I'm going to go out the same distance. You see that? And then using the axle as my minor axis, and there's my wheel for the cart. And if you're not sure how to do that, or what I just did, if this is brand new and you're totally confused, feel free to send me an email, and I might have a little worksheet I could send it, or I could send a video link where I could show you a video link that we've done on this before. That would be very helpful. Okay, so there's our base bones. There's our bones of our cart. Now let's turn it into a flower cart per se. Okay, so and this is wide open. Okay, so you could add flowers however you want on this. I'm thinking like I'm gonna make a giant rose on top. So how would I do that? So I'm gonna start up on top of the sign here. I'm gonna get in the basis of my bud. Like this is gonna be a giant rose, a giant ceramic rose on top. I'm gonna do a curly Q in here. All I did on that was, if you have a curly Q like this, I went in and right there, right there, right there, right there. Kind of has a rose feel to it. And this is going to be my stem, so I'm just going to walk my stem back. And then I'm going to attach this big flower to the top of my sign, just like that. And then my sign will attach also to the top of the canopy. So on my tabletop here, I'm going to draw some containers that can have flowers. And since the flowers are going to be, there's flowers in front and flowers behind, I want to draw the container that's closest to me. So it's going to be over here. So I'm just going to put like a round container like this. There's another one there. Maybe this one is And maybe we have another one over here. Okay, so I'm just looking for the big shape here. And if you prefer to make a hot dog stand, well, then you could draw a gigantic hot dog. That would be nice as well. So now I'm just kind of adding some just ideas that there's things growing here, flowers. I don't have to get in all the detail, just kind of show the general idea. You know, you can decorate these containers. And the one last thing I want to do is I'm going to add a little tone, I think, to the right side here. Now, one last thing. This is the last thing. Let's put some stripes on this canopy, but let's make sure that these stripes are going back in perspective. So on this top part here, I'm going to put an X again. This will give me the dead center. Okay, so that will set me up for a little bit of guidance there. Now I can just kind of add a stripe. That's the center. And then I can add a stripe in the middle there. And then there's 3 stripes that are going back in perspective. And there you go. There is Kurt and Friends Flower Cart. Okay? If you do have additional questions, please join our Facebook group. It's totally for free. Post your questions in there. You can direct it toward me, or even down here in the comments below. You can ask a question and I will try and answer it my best. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Okay. Bye-bye.